Hello, my name is Maia Kobabe. I'm the author of Genderqueer, a memoir, one of the most banned books in America. I wrote this book because I was wanting to come out as non-binary to my friends and family and community, and I was having a really hard time explaining what gender means to me in conversation, and in particular to my parents. And in many ways, I wrote this book as a letter to my parents and my extended family, hoping that they would finally understand what I was trying to say and really know me on a deeper level. There were a couple of books that inspired me, Fun Home by Alison Bechdel being one of them, but I also wrote this book because I couldn't find a book like this to give to my family. I spent my teen years searching for queer stories. What I found was crumbs, side characters, tiny little side plots, one-off episodes in TV shows. But I think if I'd been able to find a book like Genderqueer as a teenager, it would have meant the world to me. It would have become my favorite book. I would have been obsessed with it. I would have made everyone read it. I would have probably read a copy of it until it fell to pieces. I was just so desperate to figure out who I was and to find answers to the questions that I had, and I really couldn't find them until I was much older. I have come to have many identities throughout my life. I identify as queer and bi and non-binary and as being on the ace and era spectrum. And this book is partly about trying to figure out where does sort of my gender identity intersect with my sexuality. And it's a tricky question. They're very interwoven. It is a memoir. It's about my life. I'm the only one who has lived it. No one has had the same sort of set of circumstances that I have. But one thing I think is actually unique is that it's a story of queerness and coming out in a very accepting and loving family and a very accepting and loving part of the country. And I actually faced very little external pressures in my life, and all of my sort of conflict was very internal. And a lot of queer stories have dealt with a lot more external struggle than mine, and I think those stories are really important. But I think we need all kinds of stories. So we also need the ones where someone is able to grow and come out very gently in a very safe environment. There are so many kinds of people in this world, and everyone needs a different kind of story. And stories can serve multiple purposes. They can be mirrors in which you see yourself. They can be windows in which you can see a view into another person's lived experience. And even if a book does not seem useful or valuable to one reader, it might be deeply valuable to another. And that's why we need lots of types of books and lots of types of stories. And I don't think my book is for everyone, but I think for the people who need it, it could be a lifeline. I am very against censorship, and I think all books need to stay on the shelves because readers need all kinds of stories. There was almost no negative reaction to the book for the first 2.5 years that it was out. The negative responses didn't really come until the run-up to the 2021 fall midterm election. I was not shocked because I'm definitely aware that queer and trans and non-binary stories often get challenged, but the timing of it surprised me until I realized that multiple politicians were making it a real talking point. I think it's been surprising to me how long book challenges and book bans have stayed present as a conversation in the media. I'm used to things going viral and sort of fading out of attention more quickly, but we're now heading into the second full year of Genderqueer being one of the most challenged books. The first thing I would say is please read it before you judge it. I started questioning gender and sexuality basically when I hit puberty, when I was 11, 12, 13 years old, and I was asking these questions by the time I was in high school, and I was searching for this type of information. If I'd had a book to read like this, specifically when I was a freshman in high school, it would have saved me years of questioning and confusion about my identity. I have had so many beautiful, heartwarming responses, the kind of responses that an author lives on. I've had people tell me the book helped them understand themselves better, the book gave them language that they'd never had before to explain their identity. I've had younger people tell me that they gave it to their parents and now their parents use their pronouns. It has opened conversations they never had before.
How does that feel?
It's wonderful. That's exactly what you want when you write a book like this. I am excited to be working on my second book. It's fictional, but it explores a lot of the same themes of genderqueer, of sexuality, identity, trying to find yourself, but more in the junior high range. And I'm very excited to be working on it with a co-author, Lucky Srikumar, and it is due out from Scholastic Graphics in 2025.